Can you give any examples of common mistakes you see people make when they don't buy real or when they're buying real estate here?
Of course, yeah, and I'm actually glad you brought this up because I'd like to point out three common mistakes that just misconceptions that when I meet clients for the first time, it usually comes out because they have expectations that what we do here will be similar to the US. So the first of three is clients that come down and buy in a hurry. And I definitely don't want to discount anyone from rushing into buying a vacation home in Cabo because I know that it's very exciting. And I know that a lot of the time when people make up their mind, they're committed, but it's more the closing process. You know, in the US, you can make an offer based on 3 or 4 day closing, but that doesn't really happen here. Most of our closings are, in general terms, 60 to 90 days. And that's just because of all the processes that need to happen. And when you have a foreigner purchasing in Mexico, you have to file for permits. And again, all these processes are done by the closing attorney, the closing coordinator. So it's not things that the buyer really needs to worry about, but it's the time management that needs to be considered. And the important part of that is actually just to be patient. And we can do an element called an early possession, but it requires additional paperwork, and it requires the seller to be on board with that methodology of being able to close without completing the titling process. So that's number one, is buying in a hurry. Just be very upfront with your real estate advisor, your expectations on your closing timeline, and then everybody can adjust accordingly. Second is expecting a mortgage. I get a lot of calls from individuals who say, you know, I'm ready to buy $1 million house down there. Send me everything you got. And then I kind of step aside and say, well, you know, have you already determined your mortgage? And they say, no, I figured you just do that for me. We don't have traditional mortgages here, and especially when you compare it to the US. We have two companies that I work with and I refer clients to, but you know, their interest rates are between 7 to 12%. And I know that somebody coming from the US, that usually deters them from wanting to move forward in that direction. So I just want to have a real conversation with people and make sure that their expectations are met before we get to that place and start talking about borrowing and lending. We can find other opportunities such as seller financing. So we can ask the seller to carry a note for, you know, usually general terms here is a 3 to 5 year note if a seller was going to lend to the buyer. But, you know, another expectation that needs to be met in the beginning and not catch people off guard after they found the home that they love and their expectations are doused after that point. So that's number two. And then number three, the misconceptions that people hear in the marketplace. I'd say half of my clients, you know, they come to me and they say, we had friends that bought in Mexico, you know, 10 years ago, and they had all their money stolen and the developer disappeared. I have not seen that in Cabo since I've been here in the last 8 years. I know that Congress has passed a significant amount of legislation to protect more of the foreigners that are coming down here and purchasing, and also just regulating the system so that we have less people that need to worry about these kinds of things. I know that also a lot of misconceptions happen because people bought in other places outside Baja California Sur. Baja California Sur, the state that Los Cabos is in, actually has movements to our governing body than any other state in Mexico. And because of that, people are more protected, people find more value, and people see that they're safer making purchases here than they are any other places. If you talk to a lot of title insurance agencies that work with title insurance in Mexico, they're going to recommend Los Cabos more than anywhere else because we've had so many transactions here in such a short period of time. And we really do have laws that help protect. So, I bring that as one of my three things because I want people to know that what they heard that happened in the past or what they heard their friends did in other areas of Mexico is not like here. So we have a lot more assurances and we provide more confidence for our buyers.